when you really get touched by his hand, and you really, it's emotional, man. I was in a little church down in McDowell County, West Virginia, and my wife kept nagging me till I went. I just went to shut her up, y'all. I didn't want nothing to do with church. I didn't like preachers. Years ago, I was a punk kid, y'all, and I'd always steal gas out of church buses. And didn't like preachers, so there's a preacher out the road, and I hit his gas tank one night. And I don't remember how old I was. Like I said, I was a punk kid. And I had the gas flowing about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was real quiet, and all of a sudden this big light pops on and said, "Freeze!" And it was the preacher. And I threw that gas can in the air, and I took off running, and I run down through the woods, and I couldn't see anything, and he was shooting at me. And it wasn't over my head, because I heard bullets going, hitting the leaves beside of my head. I tore my glasses off, I tore my shirt off, I lost my hat. I came out in this big yard somewhere, and I jumped over the fence, and I was tore up, I was bleeding, and I was laying there, and I heard something, and it went, and I looked, I ain't kidding you, there's a Doberman that tall, man. All I seen was his teeth, and I'm like, go ahead and eat me, I can't move. Honestly, I'm done. And I told y'all that to tell you this. But later on in my life, the preacher caught me, by the way. He went up and got my license number and called my dad, and that ended my gas stealing career. And my dad almost killed me. And later on in life, I got saved and got my life straightened out, and I walked in his church, and there he sat. And I went, ooh. I didn't want to talk to him, you know what I'm saying? And I started to walk off. He goes, "Hey, boy, hey, you come over here just a minute." I went, oh. And my wife patted me on the back. "Bless him, Jesus. Bless him." She walked off and left me, y'all. And she wasn't going over because she knew who it was. And I went, oh. And I went over and sit down beside this old man. And I couldn't look at him. I was ashamed of my life. And he said, "Look at me, son." And I looked at him, and he said, "I forgive you." I said, "Man, I'm so sorry." I said, "I was an idiot back then." And he said, "But you're doing good now, ain't you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And he said, "I'm proud of you." And he hugged me. And he said, "We all go through some slumps in life." And he said, "I think you figured it out." He said, "You keep serving Jesus." And I said, "I will." And that was back in the early 90s, y'all, back in that time. And that old man's gone on to be with the Lord. But his forgiveness touched my heart.